back again to Rinka's Kitchen. I have another family favorite recipe, and it is called Hungarian cheese rods, Sajtos Rúdak. So what you will need for this recipe is 3 cups of pre-sifted flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 kilogram of semi-soft surface ripened cheese of your choice, and today I'm using OKA cheese. It's from Quebec, so you can use any type of cheese that you want. It should be a semi-soft surface ripened cheese for this recipe. So whatever you can get for your area. Sometimes if you go into the Hungarian deli, if you have a Hungarian deli nearby, they do sell the soft surfaced ripened cheese, the Hungarian brand, so you can kind of look around for that type of cheese for this recipe. You will also need 1 cup of sour cream, 1.5 cups of salted butter, and 2 whole eggs and 2 egg yolks. So first of all, I began by finely grating the cheese, so I have that in the fridge. And what I've done is I've cut up the butter into small pieces, and I've left it at room temperature. So you want to get that ready for this recipe. So what you do is you add some flour to a bowl. You'll need some extra flour for this recipe. So this will be used for your pastry board. It would be used for your rolling pin and your pastry cutter, and also if your dough is a bit soft, then you can add, or sticky, then you can add this to your recipe. So now what I'm going to begin by doing is I'm going to begin by blending the flour, the salt, and the baking powder and the grated cheese into the flour first. And this is my mixing bowl. I'm going to be using a electric stand mixer today. If you don't have one, you can just use a large bowl, and you can knead this dough by hand, gently knead the dough by hand. But today I'm going to use my electric stand mixer to do this recipe, and it will do the kneading for me. So I'm going to add the salt and the baking powder, the 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Take my wooden spoon, and I'm going to mix that into the flour. Then I'm going to go to the fridge, and I'm going to get my finely grated cheese, and I use the Oka cheese today. And what I've done is I've finely grated this with a small grater. So I have a little machine that grates this down finely. And then I'm going to put that in there, into the flour. And so there's about a 1/4 kilogram, approximate 1/4 kilogram of the cheese. Now you can take some of this cheese and you can sprinkle it on the dough, and there could be cheese on the outside of it, but I'm not going to do that today. You can take some of it. I'm going to mix it into the flour. Before I put it over to my electric stand mixer, I do mix sort of the dry ingredients into it first, get it started, and then I'll attach it to my stand mixer. Okay, and then I'm going to make a well in the center with my wooden spoon, just like that. And then I'm going to put my butter. So this is 1.5 cups of salted butter. And I've cut it up into little sort of squares or cubes. And then going to get my eggs from the fridge. And sour cream. So there's 1 cup of sour cream also in this recipe. So 2 whole eggs I have here. I'm going to add that. So this is kind of like your liquid ingredients. And then my sour cream, and I'm using the low-fat sour cream for this. So I'm just going to put this into the middle there. So that's 1 cup of sour cream. And then I've got a wooden spoon, and then I'm just going to start sort of stirring it in. Just going to get it started with my wooden spoon. Sort of moisten everything. And then I'm going to put it in for my stand mixer. Just get it started a bit with my wooden spoon. Moisten the flour. Just give it a head start. It's already smelling nice. It's actually the cheese. You can smell the cheese. It's a really good cheese to use for. It's sort of got a hard crust on the outside of it. Don't cut off the crust, sort of the hard part of that cheese on the outside. You want to grate that too. Okay, so I'm going to take this over to my stand mixer. Welcome back again to Arinka's Kitchen. What I'm preparing here is the Hungarian cheese rods, and I've just taken this out of the stand mixer bowl. And this is the mound of dough here, and it's kind of a little bit of a sticky dough. So you need to have a bowl of flour on hand. I'm going to take half of this mound and roll it out. So I'm just going to cut it in half like that. And I'll just put that back in the bowl there, out of the way. And then I'm going to make sure that this is floured really good. Then I'm going to roll this out thin. And make sure that my rolling pin is floured. So you want to cut that mound in half. Now this is a great recipe for, if you want to serve it, if you've got, like if you're watching a football game or a soccer game, or you've got all these little snacks and treats, you could probably bake up a batch of these. They're fantastic, eh? So you want to roll this out nice and thin. And then with a pastry cutter, you can I'll just show you how to cut this out. You can make long rods, or make medium-sized rods, long, sort of like almost like sticks. Long rods. So I'm just going to, and of course you preheat the oven. And I probably should do that. Preheat the oven. Start warming your oven up, or heating your oven up. It's a nice dough. Now, what you would do with a basting brush is that you would baste egg yolk over it, because that'll make it nice and golden brown. And you want to do it ahead of time. So, just going to go get the egg yolk from the fridge. And my basting brush. And I'm just going to brush over before I start cutting. Now, next week I'm going over to my deli and we're going to prepare the pork belly, so like the pork cracklings for me. So I have to phone a day ahead of time. I could make my own, but it's called tepertős pogácsa, bacon biscuits. I've ordered some at the Hungarian deli, so I'm going to be picking that up on Wednesday. But that, if all goes well, if I can get a hold of that, the pork cracklings, I'll be doing that recipe. If not, it'll probably be a cake recipe, something sort of another cake recipe that I'd like to share with you. And if you subscribe to me, you would be notified about my next recipe coming up. So I'm just going to put half of this egg yolk on here because I'll need it for the other mound. So just brush it with the egg yolk. Going to leave that other one there, and then I've got this pastry cutter, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off my cutting vertical just across like that, depending on how thick you want them, like that. This one's a little bit thicker. Just make it a bit thinner there. But you do vertical cuts like that across. And you can use the fancy edge too. If you want, you can do this too. I'll do a couple of these also. This is really a good pastry cutter. It's by Wilton. So you can make the edges really fancy on your rods, like that. So straight edge, or you can do, make it a little bit fancier. And they will puff up, you know, so they look a bit flat right now, but as soon as they go into the oven, and you bake them only for about 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 to 10 minutes, and you wait till they're golden brown, and then you just take them out. So you can decide, and then you go horizontal across. Great recipe, looks like. So 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 to 10 minutes. You want to keep an eye on it, and make sure that you know, they're nice and golden brown. And the egg yolk on top, the brushing of the egg yolk on top helps to make them really nice. You can sprinkle cheese on the top of them too. So you can take that half that recipe and you can sprinkle it on top of the egg wash and then cut it. So there's different variations that you can do. So I chose not to do that today, but if you want to, you can take some of that cheese and sprinkle it on the top also. So I'll be back to show you what this great recipe looks like fresh out of the oven. What this great recipe looks like coming out of the oven. I've got some here on a plate, and I baked these for about 15 minutes, so you have to keep checking. Now in my recipe I've mentioned approximately 8 to 10 minutes. It's been on for about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to check to see, and they should be kind of like golden brown like this. And then the bottom looking like that. So, oh, they're just delicious. You can also sprinkle, like on this dough here, you can also sprinkle cheese on the top of it too. Of that cheese that I mentioned, or the cheese of your choice, you know, a semi-soft surface ripened cheese of your choice. And you just have to keep checking the oven to make sure that it's, you know, it's baked really well. So, like I said, these can be served at celebrations, birthdays, Christmas. There's a sort of a long weekend game like football or soccer or hockey game on TV, and these are great for that type of, you know, for parties or even just for a snack, like baking up a couple of these, and this would be like a kind of like an after-school snack for your children. So, and it is fairly simple to make, and I hope that you enjoy serving this to your family and friends. And if you have any questions or comments about any of my recipes, please feel free to contact me at irinkaskitchen.com or irene@irinkaskitchen.com. If you subscribe to me, then you will get an email sort of giving you an idea of what recipe I'm going to be making next. And hopefully it's going to be the bacon biscuits. I just have to wait. I have to contact my local Hungarian deli, and the lady there said that she would fry up some of the pork cracklings for me. There are some really good recipes for pork cracklings on the website. I got one off the website, so, and some tips on how to make your own. The only thing is that you have to be very careful with it when you're making it, because there's a lot of splattering involved with the you know, the grease from the pork. So you want to have one of those splatter protectors over your pot. And so that's the only thing, is the safety. So you have to be very careful when you're making that recipe. But for this particular recipe, I put in an order at my deli to have them fry up some pork cracklings for the recipe. So, so until next time, bon appetit, jó étvágyat. And I'm looking forward to having you come and visit my website again. Thank you for viewing my recipes, and like I said, see you again.